News. Oh boy, Led Zeppelin will get you out of bed in the morning. Rock and roll from, I don't know, about 1971, I think. Their fourth album, one that called Zozo or Led Zeppelin 4. That album was Stairway to Heaven, you know.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Play that one song, you know. That one. I played in bands for so long. People would always, request, hey, can you play that one song? I finally wrote a song called That One Song because,
You heard it so often.
Yeah, that's right. Another one was, I used to just make this up in between songs. Okay, the next song we're going to do, because we have, kind of rowdy crowds back in the Tin Pan Alley days and stuff. And so I'd say, okay, this is a song called Shut Up and Dance. And there wasn't a song called Shut Up and Dance. And eventually I wrote a song called Shut Up and Dance. So recorded it, and it was,
Right after Play That One Song, that was the second one.
Right. So, oh boy, well, good to be here. Once again, I'm Butch Maxwell, not Howard Monroe. If you're used to hearing Howard this morning, well, know that Howard will be back next week. So he'll be back live and local.
As long as the flights are okay when he gets back, and there are no delays, then
yes. Otherwise, we'll be in Metro News, or I'll be showing up suddenly. But I'm glad to be here. I want to talk about a couple of, just as a potpourri of a few different little stories that I think are kind of interesting. Recently, the New York Times published a very striking front-page report that read, the Trump campaign new lawyers' voting machine claims were baseless, memo shows. And in the article, Donald Trump's political operation was detailed, and it explained that all of the sort of election conspiracy theories that were going on behind the lines of the Trump campaign, the failed Trump campaign. And this all came to light not through a whistleblower or for investigative reporting, but because of a defamation lawsuit that was filed by Dominion Voting Systems, who targeted the former president's team. If you'll recall, a lot of people, including Rudy Giuliani, were saying that the Dominion Voting Systems that developed the voting machines were flawed, that they were actually put together by communists who wanted to overthrow the government and throw the election. So in this defamation case, attorneys sat down with Donald Trump's infamous lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, and asked about the origins of the Republican conspiracy theories, specifically related to these voting machines. And as a part of the deposition process, Giuliani, among others, was required to answer questions under oath, which in turn offers the public a window into how all of this nonsense became an animating principle for the former president's lies. And the core question for the former New York City mayor was simple. Where did all this weird stuff come from? Giuliani was asked, for example, about media reports in which he said he'd relied on some media accounts and social media posts in order to go after Dominion Voting Systems executives. Giuliani responded that he couldn't remember if it was Facebook or some other platform. Those social media posts get all one on me, is what he said in kind of an incoherent language. Giuliani added that he couldn't think of anything else that he, quote, I laid eyes on. This in itself was amazing, because before going public with anti-election conspiracy theories, Giuliani's due diligence involved reading some stuff via social media, though he's not sure which platform, but this is what propelled the lawyer to believe that widespread election fraud happened because he read it on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or some social media that he cannot actually remember. Giuliani also said he didn't have any information about the alleged witness's credibility, and he didn't make an effort to check. Here's a selection from the transcript. "It's not my job in a fast-moving case to go out and investigate every piece of evidence that's given to me. Otherwise, you're never going to write a story." Well, I don't know. I think it is your job. If you're going to make allegations, you need to know whether or not they're true or not. So Giuliani, just a crazy person. America's mayor has long ago gone off the rails, and I don't think he's ever coming back. Speaking about somebody who's off the rails, though, way off the rails, is the guy who's behind InfoWars. And now you may not be that in tune with some of the sort of right-wing conspiracy theories that are happening on media that is a little less mainstream than the Watchdog here. But there's a guy named Alex Jones who has been saying for years, among other crazy things, that the 2012 Sandy Hook school shootings were all staged, that no one actually died there, that this was just a left-wing conspiracy to try to get gun control legislation, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You got something?
Go ahead and explain that to the parents
so,
of Sandy Hook, and
so
see what they say or see what they do.
Well, what has happened? This has been going on since 2012, but there's been a lawsuit against InfoWars and against Alex Jones in particular for defamation for the damages caused by his claims surrounding this mass shooting. Well, basically, Jones failed to show up and answer the charges, and he was given ample opportunity to take these lawsuits seriously and obey the law, but he, according to the judge, he chose not to do so, and now he is going to have to face the consequences of that court decision. So now actually they haven't ruled exactly what he's going to face, but yesterday the Texas judge ruled that Jones and his parent company, Free Speech System, intentionally disobeyed court orders, and they didn't hand over certain documents related to the lawsuits, and so they have ruled against him. And this is just the first in probably several different suits that are, we hope, will eventually take down Mr. Jones, or at least humble him a little bit. Biff, what do you got on this?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much more they go after him, and just to see what all else is there. I mean, those are pretty strong claims that I mean, how many other situations has it been conspiracy or whatever, but I don't think this is the last of them that they'll look into.
Yeah.
And who else?
Yeah.
I mean, his company. I mean, who else are they going to look into?
Yeah. Now he has been largely barred from a lot of the major social media platforms. Jones, and he's not the only one, of course. But now the platform that where he had most of his success, YouTube, has finally cut him off. Yeah, he's only 44 years old, which kind of surprised me that I found that out. But among the craziest things that he said was, he said the government has weather weapons, and he's purported that. He's saying that chemicals in the water are turning frogs gay. Oh boy, gay frogs. We just can't have gay frogs. He said that Robert Mueller is a demon and a pedophile. Remember Robert Mueller? He was the special counsel who was, investigating Donald Trump. And of course, he said the Sandy Hook shooting was staged. And he also was behind, pushed forward that ridiculous conspiracy theory that Hillary Clinton was running a child sex ring out of the basement of a pizza parlor, and the pizza parlor didn't even have a basement. And, it was just absurd, absurd, absurd. So, yeah, that guy.
But people believe.
Yeah, that's the danger of it.
Some people believe that stuff.
Yeah, just
What?
I just have a little bit of, and I know, I'm preaching to the choir here because I know our our listeners are much more intelligent than that. They're just not going to believe anything they see on the internet or anything like that. But it affects a lot of people, and a lot of people do get influenced by this stuff, and it's just
it motivates them to do certain things, or you don't know how people are going to react.
Yeah, and I think Jones knows how they're going to react. They're going to become reactionary, and they're going to
which is why I think he says some of the stuff that he does, because he wants to see what type of reaction is he going to get, and how big of a group,
yeah,
or what are they going to do. So yeah, you wonder how much of it is actually okay. Is it for reaction, or does he really believe what he's actually saying?
Yeah, and I kind of wonder about that. There was a movie, a very small independent film that came out probably 15, maybe even 20 years ago, because as I get older, the years go by faster. But this movie was called The Last Supper, and in it had a bunch of liberal, progressive-minded graduate students in New England somewhere who would gather together and have supper, and they would invite somebody over for the supper, and it was generally some intellectual that they had some dispute with, and so they would engage in this conversation, and they get mad at one guy, and they decide to kill him. Because he's very, very, his opinions are counter to theirs. So they kill him and bury him in the backyard, and then they do it again to somebody else, and eventually their yard is just being filled up with these bodies of these right-wing people that they disagree with. And eventually they have a radio talk show host who is very reminiscent of a very popular radio talk show host who passed away recently. And in it, this fictionalized character admits that all he is doing is just trying to stir crap up. He doesn't believe any of the stuff that he's saying. That he's doing it all for ratings, etc. And it kind of makes me wonder if I don't think that was true of the model of this particular character. I think he actually, that guy in real life, really did believe that stuff. And I wonder if Alex Jones isn't like this, just trying to just stir up crap and just make stuff up just for ratings and for attention and stuff like that. My theory. What do you think, Biff?
Kind of sounds like he's the real life version of the fictional character
character
in the movie.
Yeah. It was kind of good. And the very cool thing about this movie is that, especially from somebody who comes from my political perspective, is that it points out the fallacy or the flawed thinking of self-righteous people from the left as well as from the right. So it's good, and I would recommend it if you get a chance to see the Last Supper. It's an older movie, independent film, but if you can find it, it's amusing. Hey, the Super Bowl has announced who is going to be performing at the halftime show this year. So we don't know who's going to be playing the game, but we do know who's going to be entertaining at halftime, and there are going to be 5 performers. And if you like hip hop, rap music, you're going to be really happy, because they've got Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar will all be forming together. Of course, the Super Bowl is scheduled for Sunday, February 13th. Kickoff is like 6:25 or something like that. I know it's something weird like that.
It's early.
Yeah.
And well, you figure the way the halftime show is for the Super Bowl and the long halftime that the players go through, because they spend all that time setting up the stage,
Right.
taking down the stage. It's
Yeah.
it's. I mean, I think it's pretty close to about an hour.
Yeah.
Just for the
just in the middle of
for the halftime and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's always interesting when they announce the performer or performers in this case, to see who it's going to be. So,
And over the past few years, it's been this pattern where they've had not just one, but at least two, and
and kind of surprising, really, for the NFL to the way they've been going ever since the Janet Jackson
Right.
fiasco, or whatever you want to call it, that they've seemed to. You don't want to say conservative, but I'll say go on the safe end with some of the artists and performers that they've picked, and I kind of surprised at the list that they're going for
a little edgy
for next year and in 22. But no, I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think also, I don't know, maybe their choice of entertainers too has been. We've got. It's hard to not notice that we've got 4 black performers out of this, and given the NFL's challenges with Black Lives Matter, maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know, but it's not a criticism. I mean, if they're doing that, it's still some compensation. I still think they ought to allow people to express themselves a little better, and if they want to take a knee, I don't see that as disrespect. But that's the way I see it.
I wonder too, and I believe the Super Bowl was in L.A., where that new stadium where the Rams and the Chargers play, SoFi.
Yeah.
The SoFi Stadium, which looks like an alien spaceship if you've ever seen it. The money that they put into that place, but I wonder, with it being California, and I'm sure most of those performers are out there in California, so I wonder if they just figured out, we're in California, we got a bunch of here, pick from a list and see if they want to do the halftime show.
Yeah, so. That could be, because I know it, at least Dr. Dre is from California, and I think you're probably right. Most of these performers are from California.
That'd be my guess. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but yeah, I was kind of. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be good, but just kind of surprised the way the NFL has been going in years with the halftime show. But
yeah, it had been a lot of times. It'd been sort of old, kind of over the hill rock bands and stuff like that. I mean, some of them that I really like, but maybe I don't know. Maybe not having the Who would have been a better idea or something. Talking about old over the hill rock bands. Who's playing tomorrow in Pittsburgh? Rolling Stones.
Yeah, yes.
Did you ever see the Stones?
I have not, but I believe I think my brother has. I think he's seen them. Yeah, he said it was a heck of a show. So
it's amazing. I've saw them twice. That's probably once more than necessary, but it was it was a whole lot of fun. I've got to say this. I know this is going to be blasphemous to diehard Rolling Stones fans, but I don't really think they're that good live. I think they play really well. They're excellent musicians. I just think Mick Jagger does not sing well live. He sings well on records, but I think he's too concerned with jumping around and less concerned with staying on key.
Pittsburgh's going to be busy this weekend. I think the Pitt Panthers. I think they play at home, and
that'll be tomorrow. Right?
That'll be tomorrow. You've got the concert there. Steelers are on the road, so and if that shows at Heinz Field, which is where the Pitt Panthers they play their home games.
Yeah.
That'll be a quick turnaround to get everything
Yeah.
ready
Yeah,
for that concert if it's Sunday. So
Yeah. I'm not sure what time the concert starts, but
yeah, it'll be a long day for the workers at Heinz Field.
yeah. I saw them in way back before you were born in 1978 in Cleveland, and it was back in the day they didn't have it was called festival seating, and it was just a terrible
Oh, okay.
idea, and because people just stormed the stage, and I was with some diehard fanatics who had to be as close as possible, and it was just this big crunch, and it was just very uncomfortable. And the warm up acts or the support acts, I guess is what you call it, were Peter Tosh, who was a reggae guy, kind of like Bob Marley, kind of
Oh, okay.
kind of second only to Bob Marley, and he was very well received. And the band in between was Kansas, and the crowd absolutely hated Kansas.
Oh,
It just
really?
was not a good fit. Kansas and the Rolling Stones not good together at all. So that was kind of unusual because Kansas was really kind of in in '78 they were very very popular, but they weren't. And then I went to see them again in Buffalo, and again the same thing. The crunch, it's probably a lot better now. It's probably since we actually have assigned seats and things like that.
Yeah.
I might deal with it a little bit better. But I've seen them twice, so I'm good. I'm waiting for the Beatles to get back together, and that's not going to happen.
No.
So. All right. Well, we have got to the end of our first hour of our 3-hour tour here. Coming up in the next hour, right here on the morning show with Howard Monroe, we're going to have a guest who's going to be talking about, I hope we're going to have a guest, who's going to be talking about the Women's March that's coming up in Wheeling tomorrow. Looking forward to that. We've got a whole lot of other stuff coming up in the next 2 hours, so do stick around. You're listening to Butch Maxwell, your guest host, your substitute teacher here on the morning show with Howard Monroe on the Watchdog Network. And we'll be right back.